Alright, so I wanted to run you guys through this process. This is a really common problem in these cars. So this is a C5 Corvette sun visor. These are still the original ones. At least I think they are. So a lot of times you have problems with like the mirrors falling off, the lids falling off. They're just not very well made. So I recently, about a couple days ago, my passenger side, I went to lower it to put my sun visor or my sunshade on, and this kind of holds it up, and it just sort of, I heard a bunch of crunching right in this area, and then it wouldn't really work anymore. So I started looking for new ones, thinking that it's a visor, it can't be that expensive, but Corvette tax strikes again, and a brand new one of these or a reproduction one of these is like, I don't know, I think the cheapest one I saw was probably like $70, and that's for like the Chinese made ones, the really crappy ones. Eckler's, I believe, makes a decent one that's an actual reproduction of this design, and I think that one's like $90 each. I wasn't about to spend $90 on the sun visor. I was about to go get those plugs that you just put in there. I believe Corvette Mods, I believe, makes them. Then you just kind of cap it off, and then you don't have visors anymore. But I decided to open one up and see what was inside, see if I could fix it, and it looks like it can be fixed pretty easily. So what I did is I took a razor blade. I don't know if you're in focus or not, but I took a razor blade and I just went around the seam like this, and I cut it all out as perfectly as I could. It came out pretty well. And then I opened it up like a book, like this. This part is inside. It's a 3-piece, so all these, this comes out, and then this is like the main flap. So you can build this inside of here, stick that in, stick this side in, and kind of finish it all up. But this one was really stiff, and this is the pivot area. So if you're going to lube it, you're gonna need to open it up, and you're gonna need to throw some lube in here. So it goes something like this. Let me see if I can put it back. It goes like this. Okay, something like that, and then this clip goes in there, and this is what pretty much tensions that rod. Well, mine was really dirty. I cleaned it out already. I'm gonna polish it a little bit, and I'm gonna put some lube. Then I'll put this back in and rivet it back in place. But that's not what broke on mine. Well, this is part of the reason why it broke. This got super stiff, and I was putting all the pressure on this little, I don't know, 1/8" composite board. As you can tell, mine's like in 3 pieces. It's a really dumb design. I understand why they kind of had to do it, but it kind of looks like they designed it to fail, because the mirror goes right in this section here. So let me put it all back together so I can show you guys. The mirror goes right in this section here, and it comes through here. Then they just melted the ends of the studs, the plastic studs in the mirror. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so these little metal studs, they just melted the ends on, which is all fine and good. Whatever, I didn't have a problem with that. But as you can tell right here, there's a huge gap, and then there's barely anything grabbing onto here. So you're having the whole weight of the mirror and everything on this little section here that's full of holes. So only this section is solid, and then only these 2 sections are solid. Everything else has been cut out. So as you can tell, mine broke right at that section. So this is basically the only part that's holding it in place right here. And then the little section here, like that. And then this section is even worse. You have this little bit holding the whole thing in place, and then you have this little section here holding it in place. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my local part store, my local either Home Depot or Lowe's. I'm gonna try to find some material that's this thickness, but that's stronger. That way it can handle the constant motion. I'm gonna remake this wooden piece. I'm gonna figure out a way to reattach this. so through the glass. It's supposed to be on the other side of it. Figure out a way to reattach it. I think I'm gonna use an epoxy and slightly under drill these so there's a little bit of pressure. And if worse comes to worse, I can always just epoxy it onto the new board. And then this should all be, so it should be like this. And then I can just always epoxy it to the back. I did have to cut these wires. I didn't see a plug. They look like they're soldered in there. But that's pretty easy. I'll just solder them back in place, put some shrink tubing on, no problem. That's if you wanted to put the mirrors back on. If you're, if you don't want mirrors because it's a sports car and you don't care about mirrors, then you could easily just remake this solid board and then stick it back in, and then you just have to figure out a way to cover this. Either rewrap it or just leave it. Whatever. It's your car. You do whatever you want. But it looks pretty easy to do, and then I'm just gonna have to have it sewn. Run a new seam all the way around, which should also be easy. It's just a single seam. You should be able to do it with almost any sewing machine. It's just a small piece of cardboard and maybe 2 layers of this real thin fabric. So the biggest thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remake this. Once I go to Home Depot, I will post another video of this part. I'm just going to scribe it onto the new material, and then I'll just cut it all out. Some of these are going to be pretty hard to get to, but I think it'll be alright. So yeah, just I'll keep you guys posted. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Thanks.